A long time no see, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with the second day of round one of the Winter Circuit 2024. And my God, we had so many surprises and so many upsets yesterday. Ariandel being pushed down into the lower bracket, X9 just barely winning against Rapture in a last-second clutch in the tiebreaker set. So we definitely know what the Winter Circuit is going to bring to us. A lot of surprises, a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of exciting turnarounds and fantastic gameplay. And to celebrate that, we got you on the desk the best of the best, the most exciting, amazing, and a lot of other positive words that you can find in the dictionary. Blue, welcome back. I'm so excited.
What an introduction. Hello. I wasn't expecting that one. I am very glad to be back on the desk with you, Dara, though. It's been a while, and I'm very excited to see the matches today. I've tried to have a look into yesterday's matches for a little bit, and I think for me, it seems like, especially in this season, it looks like the playing field has leveled a little bit.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, including me, are saying finally, because we are back to having a lot of teams that we can put on the grand final list, a lot of teams that we can put into the section of 3rd to 6th place, where usually it's kind of set. And for a long time in the scene, you really knew either it's this or that team taking the crown. And here we have multiple candidates. Absolutely. It's fantastic. And one other factor that comes into play here is that DBDL reintroduced the scene of South America. And they are playing today. And we know they have a lot of fans. So hola, everyone. Welcome back to DBDL. I'm so excited that they are back.
We are so happy to have you, and I think especially with the matchups that we have today, it's going to be very, very exciting. First up, we have Sinners versus Night Owls, followed by Torment versus Cynic, and then later tonight we have Eternum versus Void and Calamity versus Misery. Let's talk about the first ridiculous, won't we?
Absolutely. Sinners coming in with so much energy as well, and kind of reflects in their pick, even though we see it on the second set. It has been Nurse. This is a statement. You're coming back to DBDLeague after, I think, 1.5 years they had to wait now to be back in our tournaments, and they're coming in and they're saying, yeah, then let's show some quick decision making, some high pressure, some high intensity from the early first second in the game. We are going to pick Nurse. And for me, this is a signal, and for me, this shows that they are not scared of what they're facing here in DBDL. They are very ready to perform.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm more excited than ever to see a Nurse playing today. I mean, we do have a slightly different balancing, right? We have the seasonal balancing, so a couple of different maps, a couple of different add-ons. I think it's worth to take a look at the overall balancing, or maybe we should give you like just a little bit of a view into what has changed. For example, while we are talking about the Nurse is now going to be on the Groaning Storehouse. So a couple of small changes, which I think one could say is a bit more survivor-sided balancing, slightly.
Absolutely, and it's also interesting. It's the variation of Groaning Storehouse. The devs recently introduced as the little bit of a mix-up from the old Macmillan estate. So it's also not the most familiar map yet, because the casual Groaning Storehouse, you really have your amazing main building. You know where you find your filler pallets. You know where the generators spawn. You know the problematic 3-gens. But this variation they introduced that is kind of messing with the placement of the main building and the shack, not so clear anymore that it's on 12 and 6. Clocks had to be a little bit adjusted, even though clocks are difficult anyway when the players are coming from different time zones. Okay, never mind. But with this variation, it's a map we haven't seen yet in comp, and also scrimming doesn't happen on these variation maps yet. So it's also testing who can be spontaneous when loading in, who has the better overview at the start, who can call out the 3-gen immediately. And this is something I'm really looking into because we are really testing the skill on a different level here.
Luckily for our teams, though, not everything has changed. So for our first set, the Ghost phase, it's still going to be on the treatment theater. So in the first one, you're kind of able to rely on what you've known. However, the one change I'd like to point out with the Ghost phase set is that there are more exhaust perks available for the survivors. We only have Lithe on the banned list, so it's going to get a little harder for Ghost phase to get into that very dangerous position of having a lot of people close to being one-shot.
Absolutely. And something I got told afterwards is that Night Owls didn't realize that Ghost phase is kind of a good set for Sinners here, because Night Owls is amazing on the Ghost phase. We have to say that first. Absolutely understandable why they picked it, but they were not aware that Sinners is also amazing on the Ghost phase, and that might be because Sinners was kind of out of the scene, at least in DBDL. In South America, wasn't allowed yet as a region. So this is going to be very interesting, and since we are playing it first, there's so much meaning into this opening set because both teams are great on it. So whoever shows that they are dominant on it really takes momentum into the other sets.
So would you say the team winning Ghost phase might take the whole matchup?
Oh, this was such a clever way of pushing me into the predictions first, which I'm usually trying to avoid. Actually, I do. I think Ghost phase, especially with the exhaustion perks, is going to be a rough set that requires so much of team communication, coordination, great efficiency on the generators. Killer needs to be really on point with their mechanical skill. So if you win that, knowing that the other team is good on it, and then pushing into the Nurse. Nurse is one of these killers where you need momentum. You need to come in with wide shoulders, with a lot of confidence. You need to rush it from the early second. And once you're in the dynamic, then you're taking over and then you take control. So yeah, I'm going to say so. Whoever wins Ghost phase is going to win 2-0. What about you?
Oh, 2-0 even. Hey.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's really hard to say who's going to take this one because I know Night Owls. I know how they play and that they can perform. But Sinners, on the other hand, for me, is just like a wild card because I haven't seen a lot of them. I know a couple of names, but just barely. So I feel like, to me, I need to see the Ghostface set to really see, okay, on which level they are performing, because Ghostface is a really good representation. You have to be very coordinated and especially know your way around Larry's to really win this set, to take it over.
Yeah, that's true, though. And there's so many surprises possible as well, right? And you said it, wildcard is a very good description because admittedly, Sinners will be a surprise for me as well. What we do see, though, is they are already in the background. So we are getting the trial ready, and we will even hop straight from the campfire into the trial here, pulling something very unusual. Let's talk about the tiebreaker real quick as well. If we would see a 1-1, then we would go into the Plague, and Plague is also, for me, a wild card. Not depending on the team, but depending on the killer, because Plague can have everything between survivors pulling the 2019 we wait out corrupt intervention strategy to we don't care about any sickness and smash the generators with no care whatsoever. And everything is possible. On some killers, you have these typical strategies. On Plague, you will just see everything. So this is just completely wild.
I have to say so as well. And I am very glad that Plague isn't on Suffocation Pit, at least for this season, because I've seen way too many games go over the 20-minute mark and just dragging out the day for very long. It's on Torment Creek now, but yeah, I think Plague is it's a topic we have to come back to, because we are jumping straight into our first trial.
Let's go on the Larry's Memorial Institute. Bucky, Sweet Child, Wee, Jason, and Cthulhu facing none other than Rats. Rats kind of representing DBDLeague himself here, as he is one of our staff members. Obviously, he had to take off all his roles to not have any insight into the perks that have been locked by Sinners. And there we are with one important information. In this tournament, both teams have to lock their loadouts for Survivor and Killer before the Ghost Phase set starts. The same goes for Nurse and Plague later on. So we kind of remove the advantage. If you're playing Killer second, you cannot play for a win condition anymore by putting a know-it just to go for an endgame clutch or something. We kind of remove this here, so just keep that in mind. Later on, teams are not with touch to this advantage anymore. And this is a very wonderful 99 onto Wee Jason here. Wouldn't be surprised if Rats would even drop the chase now if it takes too long here, because with this stalking progress, you can definitely surprise this survivor later on.
Yeah, also he has spotted all the other survivors at least at some point during the trial, so there shouldn't be as much progress on the gens as of right now. So he really has the freedom to go after another one, and now spotting Cthulhu. I hope I'm pronouncing this the right way. That's a perfect target for him as well. Getting another stalk on, and he can just play in the first half of the game. He can play this a little slower, like he does, just getting the stalk process up to the perfect point.
Yeah, Rats with so much work being done for himself here. 75 on Nancy, 99 on Zarina. Even Ace and Kate have gotten a little bit here. Hasn't lost a generator yet. Doing a good job. Zarina, though, not healed yet. We have a sloppy butcher that makes the reset very painful every time survivors are opting to go for it. Is telling me that Sinners is for now prioritizing the generators here, which is making sense because Rats also came into the trial without bringing corrupt intervention. So all 7 generators are available here for our Killer, and that's going to be Rats now on the tail of Sweet Child. 75% stalk progress there as well. And I hope Sinners realizes that, because very soon we might run into the first issues here.
Two survivors, 99. Cthulhu now the first one who's trying to get away from Rats again, but he's going down. So therefore, it's going to be the first hook stage. And Rats is in a really, really comfortable position. Bucky the only one being able to really go for the rescue at this point, because with everyone else, it's going to be a trade. Yes, they're going for the reset on Wee Jason, but as we've mentioned before, the 99 stock process still stays.
And that's the crazy thing that is making Ghostface so strong, right? You have no chance to get rid of this stalk progress other than forcing an M1 here. So this is something that is really going to put them in a difficult situation later on. Rats also managed now to get the first hook stage, still on 5 generators. When we are looking around, at least on the generators he's close by, they do not have the biggest amount of progress yet. So either they are operating on the other side of Larry's Memorial Institute for now, or they have taken the first approach on Larry's a little bit slower, trying to keep it safe and going for some resets. And now I do think he didn't mean to already pop it into 100. Not entirely sure here, but he catches up to Bucky very, very quickly. Cthulhu still on the hook, so someone needs to rescue. Someone needs to prepare to save this survivor right here. So generator progress definitely going to shrink a little bit. There's going to be the God pallet removed next to the office here, or the library as some players are calling it, and might even end in an additional injury, but Rats decide to take what he has in blue in the distance. Second hook stage on Cthulhu. Sinners is handing out some stages.
And that at 0 gens being completed. Yes, this one has quite a lot of progress, but you get to apply the Pop Goes the Weasel on that one. And both remaining survivors have a lot of stock process. Rats is in a really good position, and I'm missing the objective power on Sinners End, to be honest.
Yeah, this is getting very difficult now on them. We are missing the pressure. We are missing the quick decision making, the quick unhooks as well. having the second stage there on Cthulhu is definitely very, very rough, and the Survivor is immediately back into chase as Rats is proving his Omega game sense and catches the location of the Survivor here. So I really hope that Sweet Child, our healthy Survivor, is rotating in, taking a little bit of assistance here for defending his mate against the Ghostface, and Rats is pulling the upstairs mind game, dropping down on the head of the Survivor, downing them so quickly. Yeah, hello. What an amazing, unexpected play here. And that is only having one consequence for Sinners, and that is the elimination of a Survivor on 5 generators standing. Night Owls performing out of their mind.
And now it's all on Jason to maybe get just a little bit of time out for Sinners. They need every second possible, but we are first of all rotating into a generator that has been completed. But you've heard that little ping in the background. The first gen has been completed. The first couple points for Sinners. Now the question is, for how long can you take this chase? Jason now fully stocked, which doesn't really make that much of a distance. Oh! No pallet for you, but another hook stage for Rats.
Insane performance so far from our Ghostface. Good news for Sinners. This Survivor has 2 minutes of hang time, so you don't need to worry immediately about going for a rescue here. Could progress the generators a little bit. And keep in mind, we are using 3 different win conditions to determine a winner in DBDLeague. The first win condition is the generators, so they do not need to worry about any hatch escape right now. They need to get objectives done. This is putting the win condition more difficult for Night Owls in the upcoming trial in case this would end in a 4K. And I wouldn't even say pessimistically spoken, it is more realistically spoken that a 4K is likely here if they are not pulling an absolute insane chase, keeping Rats busy for 3 or 4 minutes here to gain some pressure back, but unfortunately they are falling for the mind game here, once again vaulting into Rats. Very unfortunate. Halftime for Rats, 6 stages awarded. Next fresh Survivor on the hook, 4 gen standing booth. They need an absolute turn.
They need a miracle. I don't know how much they can get out of this trial at this point. I mean, you have all the fresh hooks, which is a win condition I don't think we're gonna get to, because, like you said, generators are what you have to worry about now. Bucky now may be able to put a little more time on the clock for Sinners. There's another God Pellet he's roaming towards, so Rats is putting another mind game. He's on fire! But that wood doesn't burn. +5 applied to the head and a flashlight as well. Bucky making his way over towards the next resource. Hopefully, it is buying Sinners at least a little bit of time.
Yeah, and this time is really needed. Bucky needs a run out of his mind. Rats even going for the full stalk to go for some extra blood points here. Bucky being put on the ground. Jason injured. Not able to save Sweet Child as we just see the progression into the second stage here. Left alone on Larry's with a lot of decision making to do, and the decision is clear. Getting another generator out of the way, the most logical and best decision right now, because it wouldn't even matter if they take the hatch or not, because the first win condition is the generators. So potentially the final chase here between Jason and Rats would put a win condition onto 3 completed generators for Night Owls. Insane performance by Rats. You mention it. Sinners needs a miracle, and I think this is also the perfect description for the second trial here.
I mean, the second trial runs on a very steep win condition. And well, I feel a bit sorry for the kid of Sinners, because he has to fill huge footsteps. And we have to credit Rats for his performance, because he has brought himself into this very comfortable position, and he has done everything in the right way possible. So I don't know. We have talked about Sinners being somewhat of a wild card, and I hate to say it, but so far they're not looking too good.
Yeah, it might. I have to agree. It might be an overwhelming pressure coming back into DBDL after 1.5 years. screaming with staff, South America, because they're so happy that they are back here and being so motivated, and they know they have a lot of community members behind them, a lot of fans that are expecting a lot today. They're also known for the ghost phase, so there certainly is a lot of pressure for them here on the shoulders, and maybe it was just a little bit too much, and they need to sort themselves now, and maybe the killer of sinners will even pull something very insane for us.
Maybe. I mean, we're hoping for it. It would be imagine if they tie this set. Just imagine. I mean, there's still the possibility of Sinners pulling out the best ghost phase we've ever seen, and we don't want to write them off. There's still possibly 2 more sets to go. I mean, this one clearly has been decided. Like, there's no denying that. But we still have another set and possibly a plague set to go. So there's still hope for them, even winning the first round, and even if they were to lose the whole matchup, which I don't know if that's gonna happen. It's still written in the stars. They still have a second chance because we are playing double elimination.
Absolutely, and even on this ghost phase set, the miracle might still be possible, because we've seen at the beginning, you don't catch the ghost phase immediately, bam, you have 99% of stalk progress. You do not see him when he's starting to crouch under the window. You are losing the mind game. You're vaulting into him. Just real quick as an explanation for everyone, he's waiting for Bucky to bleed out, so there's nothing happening with any hatch play. If you would now go for it, even though it doesn't matter for the win condition, it's still a more clean achievement that is making very clear all survivors have been eliminated, to not even allow the momentum that is going to come in if any survivor would escape the trial here. Jason is also, if I'm not completely wrong, the fresh hook that definitely needs to be on the hook. We'll see in a second here on the hut. Oh, never mind, he was hooked before. So then Rat's just aiming for a very, very clear 4K here. Might lose that because our Jason is going on a run here.
Now it's up to RNG with the hedge going to spawn, and Larry's it's very hard to find as well, but this pallet is far from safe, so Red has taken the last down of this trial, and I believe, yeah, there is a hit close enough. So, there we go, the 4K, which we've seen coming now for a couple minutes. There it is.
Absolutely insane performance by Night Owls and Rats. Congratulations for such a dream start into this best of 3 here. Sinners definitely needs to sit together, discuss a strategy for their killer. I would say they try something risky. Risky in terms of perks doesn't work because they had to lock in their loadout, but maybe just trying to go aggressively after the first survivor, trying to down the first survivor as quick as possible and then snowballing from there. While usually you would say, end the chase, check on the generators, maybe we'll see something more aggressive here to meet that. Win condition will be 3 completed generators, and that sounds like a dream win condition. We'll see if Night Owls can bring this on the table in the second trial after the break.
And welcome back everybody to the first Ghost Phase set of the season. And our first trial was one you wouldn't want to miss. Now on the second one, the question is if Night Owl's killer, being Jason right now, can put up the best performance he can to maybe just get close to what Rats did in the first trial.
Yeah, the win condition is insanely difficult. Every killer player wants an easy match and hopes that the survivor team can set it all up, but unfortunately for Sinners that didn't work. As you mentioned, 3 completed generators will push Night Owls into the second set with an advantage here, but Urushi is a window enjoyer, showing himself a little bit more. I don't know if he was trying to work as a bait there or if he was just a little bit unaware that the ghost phase was still behind him, but 75% on him already. Winter Edit is able to break the ghost phase out of the stealth here, so no further worries about gaining any additional stock progress, at least for now. Makes a little bit of distance after throwing this pallet here. Jason checking on the generator in the distance, but moving into the next one. And now it's really important if we find survivors that are unaware of him. Urushi on 99.9, Rats on 75, Winter Edit on half, so both ghost phase early on with a pretty good stock progress.
Let's see if he can make use of it. And now finding the last survivor hasn't had any progress. Counter raid. His position is known, but this gen is pretty close, and it was Arushi. He's now on fully stalked. The next pallet just a tad too far away, and therefore we have the first down on this trial. We see the scratch marks being closed. Is that a pallet? Is that a flashlight? Both. So we will have to get our focus on turrets. The one hit as well, so stock progress has been removed. Is Jason going to commit this?
This is very, very difficult for Night Owls now. And Arushi still slugged, Rats injured. Winter and Counter Raid not too bothered yet, but they need to take care of the slugged survivor here. So a little bit of generator pressure is definitely going to drop here.
I mean, the decision is understandable, trying to give the survivors more things to have to take care of. So they have to rotate over from the gens, so you have their objective a little more under control. Now with Arushi being back on his feet though, Jason is standing there with close to nothing. We do have 2 injured survivors, however, and Winter Edit still being close to being exposed, but you do need a next down, and I think Jason, I mean, I understand what he's trying to go for. He needs that snowball moment to win this.
Yeah, this snowball needs to come very, very fast, and it needs to happen immediately here. Arushi holding W, that's why it's impossible right now to go for the down, waiting a little bit, trying to mind game around, and Arushi just in time, dropping the pallet here, making sure that he is catching, that he is having enough distance, and 1 generator is already going to be completed. Meanwhile, we see a second survivor leaving the trial. That's going to be Winter Edit now on the ace with the full power. I think he's running behind the Mac somewhere in the distance. Yeah, there he is, has been caught. Mac definitely there as an assistance, could throw her body in and go for a body block, but it will be needed in a few seconds here because Winter doesn't have the biggest distance, and with this ping difference between South America and Europe, he's not going to make it. That's going to be the down, first hook stage possible, but here we see what we mentioned. We need something crazy, we need something aggressive, so the slug is going to come out.
He has no time to go for the hook, but he also has no time to find another survivor. If they're on another gen, 3 gens as the win condition, and with all the time that has passed, I wouldn't be surprised if there were a second one popping in a couple of seconds. We have spotted Rats now. Another survivor who has to take chase for a long time. Very nice pallet drop coming out, giving his team a couple more seconds to complete that second gen.
Winter still on the ground, survivors prioritizing either the generators for the win condition or being a little bit confused about where the ghost phase exactly is here. It becomes a little bit chaotic in this trial now. 3 injured survivors. Only counter raid is the one that we haven't seen yet, but there's the tie condition now for sure. So next generator would be the set point win. 4K would be replaying it on the Larry's Memorial Institute here. What will it be? But unfortunately our killer has to achieve 12 additional hook stages to go into the tie here. So that's going to be one hell of a task. In best case, you even pull a survivor away from a generator, sneaking up on them when they don't notice you, counter raid being back on 75%. That is all great work by the killer, but nothing that is taking control yet. The survivors are simply not allowing him to do that.
Oh my god, he spotted the reset point, but the pallet comes in just in time, blind directly afterwards, and now you have 2 survivors spotted and somewhat busy. I mean, if you can get the slug on one and the hook on the other, that would be a lot of pressure, but you still have to worry about 2 more survivors. Rats also around and able to take 1 hit for Arushi, but honestly, he doesn't even need to, because if that 3rd gen pops, and I'm very sure that the other survivors are working on that, then this trial would be over. And I think Jason knows that as well. I have to say though, he had a similarly good start like Rats had, and I think if the win condition would have been different, we would be celebrating Jason right now.
we absolutely would celebrate him, and the entire SA community would freak out if he's pushing this one into the tiebreaker set. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen. Night Owls with the third generator meeting the win condition. And now it is the question, how are we moving into the second set with the Nurse? Are we going to see escaping survivors that are going to stay on the survivor side with all their confidence? And we talked about how important momentum and confidence is for the Nurse set. Oh, hello, Counter-8. That's going to be a quick down here. Or if the killer is going to pull dominance about Night Owls, because Sinners is going to stay on the killer side, so getting a few additional stages in here and keeping the survivors of Night Owls under control will definitely do a good chunk of work for you for the upcoming set.
And also remember when I said I have to see Sinners perform to like kind of get an idea of where they're coming from and on what level they're playing. Honestly, on the survivor side, there were a lot of 50-50s lost, right? Which you can be like, well, it can go one way or the other. That's literally what the name says. It's a 50-50. But the performance of Jason, I actually really liked. Unfortunately, 3 gens it feels impossible, especially on Larry's with the Ghostface. Ghostface, it's a very good map for him, but the WinCon just broke the match for them. So I think there's still a high possibility of us going into a tiebreaker set if they don't lose their confidence, as you've mentioned.
Absolutely, yeah, because Night Owls was also able to play for the win condition here. I said not in terms of the perks, they are locked before the set, but if you know that you only need 3 generators, you do not care about a 3-gen, what you're usually doing, and maybe attacking a 3-gen takes some risk, or being close to a hooked survivor, or being in a not so good spot because you have to lead the killer away. But if you don't need to worry about a 3 or 4-gen setup that the killer can defend, if you know that it's only a couple of seconds you need to wiggle free for your survivor team, you can also hold W to a corner most of the time. And then you know that the other survivors are taking care of the win condition. So this was something that really, really came in clutch here for Night Owls, and something that really, really supported them in showing a great performance. And they are just consequent on it. They are starting confident, they are still confident. You can see it here, great chase by Winter in the corner with just this unsafe pallet after you're dropping it. Very, and especially on this ping, it becomes unsafe. So great work, and I actually think we are going to see some outs here.
Yeah, I see that as being very likely as well now, especially with the last generator being completed. Rushi just spotted in the background, maybe was going the wrong way over there. Freshak on Winter. I mean, the survivors don't really have to go for the save. I wonder if they're gonna try it, maybe to even take it as like a little bit of a scrim in this case. Yeah, what happens if we try to get everybody out? What if we are the ones who have that really steep win condition and have to get someone out? I mean, you could still take the benefit out of this situation. But I mean, they've already taken the win, so they should be really happy with the result. And now, for Jason, he doesn't have any reason to leave the hook as well. So we're seeing them leave, and that's going to conclude our first set.
Incredible performance by Night Owls. 3 survivors walking out of the door, 6 stages to the killer. Absolute dominant performance in the first set here. You mentioned it, Jason, though. A lot of promising performance here, simply with this win condition. Very impossible to pull it. On the survivor side, a lot of 50-50s. We will see if the Nurse maybe suits them better, since it was also their pick here to go into the set. So maybe they can meet up the expectations that we are setting since they put up the Nurse. We will see you on the Groaning Storehouse in a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone, on the Groaning Storehouse Variation, the new map, if we can call it like this, introduced by the developers, and we see Spice from the Shadows, a very, very nice information perk for the Nurse. And Winter Edit says, well, you might know where I am, but you are not going to get the first injury. At least not as quick as you would like to have it. And Phenom is a little bit confused where the survivor went. Winter trying to go for the mind game here, but it is not going to work out. But we have an undetectable nurse now due to the very wild add-on choice here. Edgemap Anderson coming out, but Winter Edit going onto the floor here. But it's a good location to die in. Corrupt Intervention, first of all, removed, but also a lot of distance, and we see the distortion kicking in. 2 survivors have been working on the generator in the main building. He will most likely teleport there after not being in the spectator bug anymore. But good progress for Night Owls, that's for sure here.
Absolutely. Not the best spice tolerance on the survivor side. Winter Edit taking the first down, and we're able to interrupt the mid-gen from being completed. Urushi has to leave as Phenom is now walking towards doesn't seem like we're picking up the chase just yet. Maybe trying to spot if anyone's going for the rescue. He's assuming there's someone close, but we haven't seen any crows flying up, so I don't know. Nothing? No one here yet? Question mark?
Yeah, the question mark is the big thing, but it seems like Night Owls is keeping a chill on the rescue here. Winter Edit going to be progressed into the second stage in just a second. I don't see anyone who could potentially rotate. And never mind, I'm talking too soon. Rats is coming out of nowhere. We were checking everything, but Rats was already hiding like a spy in the shadows, just countering what Phenom is bringing here. There's going to be the immediate chase back onto Winter Edit, but this costs some time now. It is worth 2 generators for Night Owls that are going to be completed, and he slaps him with the D a little bit. Oh, the DH coming out as well. Absolutely insane performance by Winter here. A little bit of a tribute to Q, who cannot be here today with the D strike there, but Rats being picked up, and this was easily 40 seconds that have been taken from Phenom here, equaling 1 survivor going for the generator efficiency here as well. What a great play by Night Owls.
Night Owls might have just changed the whole continuity from the game. Winter Edit now getting the second stage. Rats being injured, yes, but not getting a hook stage. D-strike came in clutch. Now the pop goes to Weasel has been applied. Is Phenom trying to get Winter out as fast as possible? Are we staying close to the hook? Maybe, but is that the right route to go if you're back 1-0?
Now back into the main building, trying to see what the survivors have planned next. We do hear a vault, but breaking line of sight right after, so Phenom decides it's better to go back to 2 tokens here, and once again Winter is being rescued immediately into the deep wound status effect. Will he be taken down? The answer is yes, but he had some good runs for 3 generators. We usually see survivors being eliminated way earlier if it's going into their disadvantage here. So Winter definitely had a good run. 2 and 4 and a quarter of a generator have been completed. Absolutely amazing here, and we start to worry, Blue, because this might have taken a little bit too long with the elimination.
I mean, Night Owls is looking phenomenal, which isn't good for Phenom. Counter trying to stay hidden. We do see the visual indicator of the heartbeat, so the nurse is still being around, but now slowly but surely backing up, and with the next teleport. Oh, nice spotted counter right. If you turn around, you will see the scratch marks. Also, Spice and Shadow came in clutch. Big time on Winter Edit, by the way. I don't think he would have spotted him without the last Crow lineup.
Amazing performance that is being upheld by the rest of the team here. They are going to take the distance. Orochi getting away with not even taking an injury here. Rats is still injured whatsoever, so they are not opting to go for the reset yet, either because they are going for the generators. But we have to talk about this final generator, because Phenom has the hill right in between these generators, and this is just 1 blink away from each other. Not sure if Night Owls has realized it until now, and this is what we talked about in the campfire chat. You have your typical problematic 3 and 4 gens on the classic maps, but these variations that were recently added, they are putting up a challenge. And I'm not entirely sure if Night Owls realize that these are so great in line with just one blink in reach and a hill in between to even have a better overview. This is definitely a luxury setup for Phantom.
And even gets their hit onto Rats, but he can't commit that. We know there's a second survivor who was working on the other gen with Rats, so you have to go back. You're forced to check on it. And the progress... it's almost... It's around 50%, I'd say. We also spot Urushi again. This now becomes a game of time. If Night Owls doesn't take another down and they rotate away from the gens fast enough, they force Venom to commit to a chase, or they just be able to complete the gens. Slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely. That is the good way to describe it here, because every single percentage that is coming into the generator, let it be as slow as they want to, but it is definitely going to progress them into the end game. Phantom is the one who needs to make the next move. Phantom needs an injury, Phantom needs a down. So all the responsibility, the entire to-do list is on him. And look at this beautiful coordination. We are moving towards the shack. The survivor calls out, he's going into a chase with me, and right the same second, Distortion is going to come and clutch and indicates that there are 2 survivors jumping into a cooperative action on their objective here. So this is the level we are dealing with. Perfect and on the second timed team cooperation when it comes to getting these generators done. And unless Night Owls is making a mistake, Phantom is in a difficult spot.
I mean, they're also coordinating the 2 gens that are probably the furthest away from each other. And Phantom had the right idea. Now the call is going to be, okay, he left us, go back towards the... leave your gen. So they're gonna go back towards the gen. So he turned around and had to look if the survivors would be coming back immediately. But even then, they took their time. And Night Owls are doing the right thing. They're slow, they're careful, they're not taking any risk. And you see the progress. Jen is getting further and further. Now injury on to counter it, and Phantom is forced to commit this. A fast down would benefit him so much, but even now, I doubt he has time to go for the hook. So there we go. Next luck. Same position that Jason has been in on the legs.
Now back onto the question, do we pick up counter rate soon? Oh, he slammed the gen, and the answer is slamming the generator. That's going to be Rats injured. We do see the slug action here. He will force the grab though. So Urushi either has the time to 100% make it to the exit gate and escape, or picking up counter rate. Now, everyone in here is a fresh hook, so you really don't want to leave anyone behind. Counter rate has been picked up. The question is, will they have the exit gate in time? It would mean that they would have prepared the exit game before picking up, and I really don't see that happening. Yeah, they are currently working on the exit gate. Teleportation onto the survivor that is hiding behind the rock here. Counter rate receiving a little bit of a ping hit, but this applies both ways between South America and Europe here. Question is now, where's Urushi? What will be the strategy? Will they pick up? The answer is yes. Rats is now back on the feed. Will they take 2 survivors out as they are planning? This is becoming an intense endgame here.
Oh, for how long can they keep this up? Counter right now on the ground. Rat's not been spotted, and it's important because it's going to take Phantom longer to get it down on Urushi than on Rat's side. It would be beneficial to spot him. He's taking a look. He's taking his time, making sure he knows where Urushi is going, so he's not able to open up the gate. But now Rats has successfully stayed hidden. You kind of have to commit on the Urushi. Maybe hope that they're going for the pickup again, but I doubt that they'll try that. I think one gate has to be prepared.
One of them should be prepared. Yeah, Urushi is going to pull the killer behind the shack here, so Rats should have enough time to start one of these progressed exit gates, and then Also getting counter raid from the ground, as we said. You really don't want to leave any survivor behind here, as they are all fresh hooks. Phantom actually decides to quickly go back as he anticipates the plan to pick up counter raid. The problem is, if that doesn't work now and both of these survivors are safe, then Urushi had some time on his hand to rotate over to the other exit gate. So Phantom might become a little bit too greedy here, and everyone is leaving out of the door. Urushi is at the edge. Will he make it? The answer is...
Huh? Hello? Excuse me? Please close the
I
thing!
I was so confused what is happening here. But Urushi was not able to jump into the hatch. But this was last second because Phantom was about to lose everything.
This was so risky. I can just imagine them being in VC. Leave. He's far away now. And then that one last blink was picture perfect, blocking the hitbox of the entire hedge. Urushi had no chance to jump in, and that sealed his fate.
Wow, I really did. I was so confused there with this hatch that I think I took a 5-second casting break. I was like, what exactly is happening, my guys? Can you decide if it's an escape or a kill? Phantom, good job here for Sinners, keeping that additional fresh survivor in the trial, but 6 hooks on 2 individual survivors is definitely also not the dream win condition when we are talking about the nurse. And loading into the nurse as Night Owls, and they have a strong nurse and they have strong practice against the nurse, so nurse is not a set for them that is like really difficult. It's going to be rough to stay below that 7 stages for the survivor team of Sinners. We will see how they perform with that, and we will catch you after the break.
This is a last chance for the survivors of Sinners to get us towards a tiebreaker set. It's Reds coming out on the killer right now for Night Owls, trying to take this one in a 2-0. So it's Bucky, Gustavo, Sweet Child, and we, Jason, were trying to keep the dream alive of staying in the winners bracket.
Yeah, a lot of pressure once again on the side of Sinners here. I feel like Night Owls has brought themselves multiple times in a very luxury position here. 7 stages for the nurse, and Rats is a very known nurse and a very experienced player. So let's see what he's bringing on the table. An injury has already been applied. We see a little bit of a different approach here with the infectious fright, making the survivors that are close to the down scream and reveal their position. So Rats definitely having an aggressive plan here. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you remember that the teams have to lock their builds before going into the set. So Rats had this aggressive plan anyway. He's not only doing it because of the win condition, he had it anyway. So we can see the confidence in the perk build, and so far it's going as intended.
I'm also very glad to see how the perk meta has changed over a couple of seasons, because Spice and Infectious Fright, these two used to be meme perks, 100%, and now we're seriously bringing them in multiple tries from different teams, and we actually see them bring value as well. So it's great to see that we're changing things up a little bit. Even with Corrupted being in and out of our meta, it switches things up, and it's very interesting to see the changes that are being made to our builds. Rats now trying to confirm maybe a second state of Gustavo, or at least trying to get the switch trade if another survivor roams in to get the hook, but no one to be seen as of right now.
We see that they are moving on. Gustavo's progressing into the second stage here. Rats going to on. That's going to be the kick onto the generator, keeping it under control. And we do see the blink back right in time. He tries to catch the unhooking survivor, but doesn't manage to do that in time.
First hit on to Jason. Now let's see who we're going after. The first gen is being completed. We're trying to take Gustavo out of the trial immediately. I mean, if you're Sinners, you want it to be the same survivor, probably because it's only 6 stages and there weren't 2 survivors, so it makes it easier for you to hit a tie condition on this set if that's the last thing you're able to aim for. But if Gustavo is taking this chase on for a little longer, you might put yourself in a really nice position on the survivors of Sinners.
Absolutely. They are trying to pull back here, but we are going to follow the chase, and we need a quick down here, because once the survivors are falling into rush and into dynamic, then we need to go into the worrying stage where we are like, Rats, you really need to start collecting your downs and your hook stages. So let's hope that he can do that relatively quick here. Gustavo and Jason, the two injured survivors, doing a lot of work here, though, pulling him all the way over towards the shack, breaking line of sight constantly. A third generator going to be completed. 2 hook stages so far. Sinners absolutely fighting. This down is very needed, but there definitely needs to be more than that.
Gustavo absolutely be the MVP for Sinners right now. I mean, Rats now has to get another fresh hook, and then probably will try to get a third fresh to completely smash the tie condition. Well, because if you get the second survivor on hook, then you just have to camp him into second stage, and the deal's pretty much done. But you have to get that next survivor, and possibly that third one. So now Rats really has to pick up the pace.
Yeah, he needs to go for it, and I'm starting to get a little bit worried, because we kind of have the same that we have in the first trial. We had 1 elimination relatively late, 3 generators were completed, then came the 4th generator right after it, but Sinners might still achieve that. So they are all healthy as well. We don't have an injured survivor that could be caught off guard here, and not really giving Rats the possibility to step up. So let's see what he's going to do next. There's going to be Feng, but the sprint burst is going to come out, throwing over Rats here a little bit. Infectious Rite also hasn't done too much for him yet, so this aggressive strategy might work in theory on the perk build, but so far Sinners isn't really impressed from it yet and hasn't run into any issues. So if they stick to these long chases, Rats will be in trouble.
Well, it might be Sweet Child being in trouble right now, but we're at match ending. There's not a lot of things to break sight with. The first hit coming on to Sweet Child. Now we have a long wall, Jim, though, could work. Oh, have we lost him? Sweet Child now receiving scratch marks, but the only way to go is the edge map corner, which means there is another hook for Rats. How far are these gens, though? I think the next chase is going to make or break it. I mean, technically, Rats could also just go for a tie condition and camp Sweet Child to death, but that's not what he will do. We already hear the next blink. So the next chase pretty much makes or breaks it.
The question is what Rats is opting to do now. If he will say, well, it is enough for me if I progress this survivor into the next stage, potentially even waiting. I think that is the spectator bug, I'm pretty sure. And if he would say, I'm progressing Sweet Child into the second stage here, just camping, knowing the win condition is close, and then catching one of the fresh survivor, camping them for 2 stages. But now Rats definitely in a good position here, caught the saving survivors, has the ace here. The question is, do you really want to go for the tunnel? And I would doubt it, because collecting any stages across 3 survivors would already be better, because if he manages to get Bucky onto the hook, then 6 stages will be enough, because 6 on 3 survivors is better than 6 on 2 survivors. So getting Bucky onto the hook is definitely an advantage here.
And now Sinners has to move in. They have to save Bucky. And they cannot have it be a trade. They also have 2 gens to go and the reset on Sweet Child, which they have to take care of. So right now it's really uncomfortable if you're on the side of Sinners. No one to be spotted just now. No gens being completed. I wonder what they're up to. I wonder which of the objectives of the multiple, what feels like 1,000 objectives that they have, they're onto. And they immediately went for the save. However, is this a Sweet Child? That's a down, that's those 6 stages.
That will be Stage 6 on 3 survivors, and that will be enough for Rats to slam the 2-0 in favor of Team Night Owls here on the suffocation pit, but unfortunately not able to escape that. That's going to be the down. We also have Infectious, right? And Rats is like, oh, wind condition is the one thing, but maybe I can simply apply more pressure here, also looking out for that flashlight save that could potentially come in. But one hook has already been used, and this doesn't look satisfying at all when you look at it. Dear developers, where are these hooks? I think if someone would come in... Okay, it's just barely going to be enough. And there we have it. Night Owls taking the 2-0 over Sinners Blue. I have to say, not what I expected with, when I heard Sinners being so motivated and so ready to represent SA here. I was expecting, I don't want to sound too negative, but I was expecting a little bit more, I'm gonna say, but maybe it is really just that it was too much pressure coming in after 1.5 years and they will slam it in the lower bracket, because they definitely have a second chance.
Absolutely. I mean, they had quite a reputation to live up to, and I think the pressure can get to you. The ghost phase set, starting on the survivor side, losing a lot of 50-50s can put you in a very negative mental position, and if you let yourself be too influenced by that, it can drag all the rest of the trials down. I have to say, the ghost phase sets, if there was another win condition, we would talk differently about them and about their killers as well. Also, the nerf set wasn't the worst. So I think once they're in the lower bracket and we've lifted off a little bit of pressure from them, I feel like they can still make it very fun.
Absolutely. There's definitely the energy and the motivation it takes for a team dynamic to prepare and fight back against this loss today. 2-0 is quite heavy, though. We have to say that as well, especially with the ghost phase set being so clear as well. And here the nurse is now turning into a very difficult performance for them as well, because if we keep in mind, we had these 3 generators basically when the first elimination came through, and now we have the 4th generator after 5 additional stages have been counted in. So Rats also spreading a ton of pressure here across the suffocation pit, not leaving any not leaving any wiggle room for the survivor team here to operate on. Jason going down. Meanwhile, a perfectly coordinated rescue in the basement to make sure that Rats cannot chain these chases together. But I feel like it would be nice to see the final gen, and I feel like they deserve to take it out here.
We just saw Bucky running towards that gen over there. I don't think we've seen him leaving, so maybe it has a lot of pressure. Maybe they're trying to get it. That's not possible. So we're hiding, not making any scratch marks. We did see Spice going off, but Rats is kind of prioritizing Jason, or even trying to bait Bucky, even getting the first hit onto him. So it's getting harder and harder for Sinners to even take an out over him. Oh, it's okay. We have to. Well, we've been talking about Sinners a lot. Let's talk about Night Owls. They're looking fine.
This is really true. They are looking fine. They look like, and you can see the energy, right? That's what I mean. You can see that they are not giving themselves up. We can see that there's more they are taking into this trial and out of the trial. They are not giving up yet. They have lost 2-0. The win condition is locked, but they really try to get this final generator done, and they really try to get an out here. And this is what's going to bring them far in the lower bracket. Even though they might drop down here, they have the second chance, and this is one of the teams where you can confidently say they will take the second chance, and they will prepare, and they will make the most out of it. So I'm very hyped to see what they are going to bring on the table here. And now is the interesting question: will Rats finish it clean on a 4K, or will one survivor escape the trial?
Well, I guess it depends on how well Sweet Child can hide themselves. I also want to point out the chase Gustavo had back in the trial, because he really he put up a great fight and got a lot of time on the table for his own team, making Rats' life very hard for a certain period of time, until Rats turned it around completely, of course. Also, we have to say Rats also had a lot of pressure on his back, being a pretty well-known name, especially being on the team on DBDLeague. Just a reminder, we have stripped him of any roles that could have potentially give him an advantage concerning insight, so it's a completely fair matchup. But he has lived up to his name as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Night Owls coming out when they were found, a lot of people say, well, this is going to be a great team to watch. This is going to be a great team to work with, showing us some new strategies. And Night Owls is one of these teams, they are not losing their positivity. You can put them in front of every challenge. You can face them in a 4K on 11 generators left, if you would exaggerate a little bit. Night Owls is going to enjoy it, and Night Owls will smile and say, we are so glad that we are here. And Sinners is one of these teams as well. They are happy to be here, they are motivated, and yeah, maybe Ghostface didn't work out and it was very clear, and maybe the Nurse didn't work out, and if it would finish in a 4K, it would be a very clear difference here in the score and in the win conditions. But they enjoy it, they enjoy themselves, they have the power, so lower bracket, second chance will definitely something they are going to look into. And meanwhile, Rats, we also have to say, like, Rats doesn't want to even offer the hatch, and this is what I like, because, like, you want to finish it with a clean 4K here, and, I mean, you deserve it after such a great performance.
Rats is playing for the best statistics possible in DBDLeague. He wants to take that one.
Yeah.
But I mean, they already joined Elysium, Onyx, X9 and Synapse, who's also continued into the second round in the upper bracket. It's going to be interesting to see who they'll be up against after the next matchup, because then we will know who will be the next opponent. And I think now even playing the trial out completely as if it's still on the table if the other team might win or lose, if that's still the win con you have to go for, sends a clear message to the team you're up against. They're not playing.
I'm laughing right now because you guys can't see it, but our match chat where all the staff members are communicating during the trials, we have I will expose her. She said Rats playing like 4K 1 win condition is $1 million. That is kinda what Rats is doing here, but I feel it. Rats has done an incredible job today on the Ghostface and on the Nurse here, and we really love to see it, and he deserves so much to finish it with a clean 4K. And it is the momentum you also take into the second round, right? You're moving forward in the higher bracket. You know, the opening weekend has been perfect for you. You still have that second chance in case you take a loss in one of your matchups, and it just feels greater if you finish it with a clean 4K. Rats is now going a little bit on a mission, try and see if someone is sneaking up to an exit gate already. Let's hope that he remembers that he has to close the hatch in time.
Did he spot them? I think he might have. I just have to make sure they don't get towards the hatch, so we're teleporting straight back, probably closing it now because we know at least somewhat where Sweet Child is waiting, now going on to the exit gate. Let's see. I mean, there's no way you make that right.
I don't think so, because the Nurse is... Oh, actually, maybe they mind gamed here a little bit. They're actually on the other gate! Making Rats believe it would be this one, because there was a hint earlier, but then switching it up, going for the other exit, and they do take it out. How amazing is that? Sinners with a rough 2-0, but there is this light at the end. They have taken the escape. Congratulations to that amazing fight. This is what we hyped up about Team Sinners, and this is why they will take the second chance on the lower bracket. They're really excited to see that. Blue, looking on Night Owls here, and their strong performance today with a clean 2-0. One of your favorites for the crown in this tournament?
Oh,
hard question.
That's such a hard question, because I feel like the playing field has leveled so much. Maybe? Can I go with a maybe? It's not a no,
yeah.
It's a maybe. I'll go with maybe. Okay.
I'll lock
that one in. Yeah.
That is a very clear prediction. Congratulations on absolutely making a decision there. But yeah, it will be hard to say. Winter Circuit so far, so many surprises, so many ups and downs. Just amazing. Sinners and Night Owls, thank you for an amazing best of 3. Both staying in the tournament, Sinners dropping down to the lower bracket and Night Owls making the clean move.